Men, let's settle this once and for all. What is the normal penis size? It's a question loaded with myths, shame, and endless comparisons. But today, you're going to get the truth backed by science.
And just as important, I'll show you how to measure it correctly, because most men actually do it wrong.
With the rise of cosmetic procedures and misleading content online, this topic is showing up more than ever in doctors' offices, late-night searches, and private forums. But here's the shocking reality. What you think is small is usually normal. In fact, research shows that 95% of men who worry about their size actually fall within the medically normal range. Let that sink in. 9 out of 10 men are stressing over nothing. The real problem isn't the body, it's body image. Too many men compare themselves to exaggerated standards, especially in adult films where size is often hand-picked, surgically altered, or digitally enhanced. It's not reality, but when you stack yourself against it, of course you'll feel inadequate. Here's another twist. Men worry way more about size than women do. Surveys reveal that around 55% of men feel anxious or insecure about their size, while only 5 to 10% of women say penis size is a deciding factor in choosing a partner. Translation? The pressure is mostly in your head, not in your bedroom. Confidence, intimacy, and connection rank far higher than inches. So here's what we'll cover in this video. The real scientific averages for both length and girth, the correct way to measure yourself without mistakes, a breakdown of enhancement procedures, and the real risks nobody talks about, and even a fascinating historical perspective that will completely flip how you think about size and masculinity. Trust me, by the end, you'll see this entire subject in a very different light. Before we dive into measurements, do me one favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every week I bring you straight, science-backed answers on men's health, energy, and confidence. And in the comments, I want to hear from you. What other myths or insecurities do you want busted with real facts? Your idea might become the next video. First things first, let's clear the confusion about how penis size is actually measured. Because believe it or not, most men do it wrong, and that's why insecurity and unrealistic comparisons spiral out of control. There are 2 key measurements: length and girth. Girth being the thickness or circumference of the shaft. For length, doctors use 2 methods, measuring while erect or measuring while flaccid and stretched. The gold standard in scientific studies is the flaccid stretched length, because it closely mirrors your erect size and removes performance anxiety from the equation. Here's how to do it correctly. Grab a ruler or measuring tape, press it firmly against the pubic bone at the base of the penis. Yes, you may need to push past the fat pad to get an accurate starting point. Stretch the penis outward, firmly but not painfully, and measure to the very tip of the glans. That's the head. For erect length, follow the same method. Ruler on top, from the bone straight to the tip. Measuring from the skin or from underneath adds false length and only leads to disappointment later. Now let's talk girth, equally important but often overlooked. To measure, take a soft tape or even a piece of string. Wrap it around the midshaft, not too close to the base or tip, and note where it meets. Like length, girth can be measured both flaccid and erect, but research relies on erect girth as the standard. And here's a tip. Don't compare your soft size to someone else's hard size. That's one of the fastest ways to create toxic, unrealistic expectations. So, what does the science actually say? The largest global meta-analysis, involving nearly 15,000 men across multiple countries, gives us clear numbers. For length, about 90 to 95% of men fall between 10 and 16 centimeters, roughly 4 to 6.3 inches when erect or stretched. The global average erect length lands at 13.2 centimeter, just over 5 inches. At the rare extremes, a micropenis is defined as under 7.5 centimeters, around 3 inches, while a so-called macropenis, extremely rare, is anything over 24 centimeters, 9.5 inches. These are statistical outliers, not the norm. Now girth. The flaccid range is 8 to 10.5 centimeters, 3.1 to 4.1 inches, with an average around 9.5 centimeters, 3.7 inches. Erect girth typically runs from 10 to 13 centimeters, 3.9 to 5.1 inches, with the average being about 11.5 centimeters, 4.5 inches. And here's where myths fall apart. Penis size has no correlation with foot size, height, hand size, or race. Bigger feet do not mean a bigger penis. That's been scientifically debunked over and over. What really matters in intimacy is not raw size, but confidence, communication, and connection with your partner. And one more truth you need to hear. Women consistently report that technique, emotional connection, and foreplay matter far more for sexual satisfaction than size ever will. So here's my challenge to you. Instead of obsessing over comparisons or myths, measure correctly, know the facts, and own your confidence. If this breakdown surprised you or gave you clarity, hit that like button right now. It helps the channel grow and spreads facts instead of myths. And in the comments, tell me honestly, have you ever compared yourself to others and felt insecure? Let's break the stigma by talking about it openly. So let's be crystal clear. Your overall health, especially your heart and circulation, plays a huge role in erection quality. Strong cardiovascular fitness often means stronger erections. No pill or quick fix can replace that. But what about cosmetic procedures? This is where a lot of men start looking for shortcuts, and where marketing hype often collides with medical reality. The most common procedure is girth enhancement. Doctors typically use hyaluronic acid, the same natural filler used safely in facial treatments. It can increase girth by 2 to 3 centimeters, usually lasting about 12 to 18 months before being absorbed by the body. When done properly, it's relatively safe. But here's the danger. Some clinics push non-absorbable fillers like silicone or PMMA. These may sound permanent, but they carry terrifying risks: inflammation, lumps, disfigurement, and in some cases, irreversible damage. When it comes to lengthening, options are far more limited and far riskier. Liposuction around the pubic area can remove fat and make more of the shaft visible, but it doesn't actually increase size. Some surgeons perform suspensory ligament release, which might add 2 centimeters of flaccid length, but it does not change erect size. Worse, it can cause instability, scarring, and long-term complications. That's why no major medical board, from Brazil's Federal Council of Medicine to top urology associations worldwide, endorses any permanent surgical lengthening. What about penile implants? These devices are powerful tools for men battling severe erectile dysfunction, but they are not designed for cosmetic enlargement. Using them for that purpose is like performing heart surgery to cure a paper cut. The risk simply isn't worth it. Now let me surprise you with a bit of history. In ancient Greece, the cultural ideal was the exact opposite of what men stress over today. Smaller genitals were symbols of intelligence, self-control, and refinement. Large ones? They were often seen as comedic, grotesque, or symbols of wild, uncivilized behavior. Look at Greek statues of gods and philosophers. You'll see balance, proportion, and modest size. Meanwhile, oversized depictions were reserved for fertility gods like Priapus or exaggerated comic figures. The point? Standards of what's attractive change drastically depending on the culture and the era. So here's the final truth. If you've ever felt insecure because of locker room talk, adult films, or internet myths, you're far from alone. But size has never been the true measure of masculinity or sexual satisfaction. What really matters, always, is confidence, connection, communication, and respect. Health, both physical and emotional, is what makes a man truly desirable. So I'll leave you with this. Stop letting myths control your self-worth. Build your health, your confidence, and your relationships. That's the foundation of real masculinity. If this video gave you clarity or helped ease your mind, do two things. Hit that like button to help spread the truth, and drop a comment below with the biggest myth you've ever heard about men's health. I'll tackle it in a future video. And of course, subscribe with notifications on, because I'll be breaking down more science-backed, judgment-free answers to the questions most men are too afraid to ask. Remember, your worth is never measured in inches. It's measured in how you show up in life.